Welcome to Beyond Brief. I'm Michael Benatar, and today we are talking to Michael Berlingo. He is the founder and CEO of StarterU. How you doing?
Great. How are you, Michael?
Good. I'm excited to have you on. I think it's like a lot of people are jumping into the job market, and I'm a millennial. I don't know. Are you Gen Z?
Yeah, I just graduated college last year.
Okay, so that's the I want to talk about that because I feel like I'm a middle-aged millennial. I'm 38 right now. Just had my first kid, but I'm out of that generation because when I was young, I interned and did stuff like that interests me, but I feel like today it all changed. So tell me a little bit about Starter U.
Yeah, so I started this when I was my last year of college. It was my last semester, so I was in my dorm and put together a small team of there was a technical founder because I'm a non-technical founder, and I found another guy who was going to help me out on the business side who I've been friends with at college for a while. And we saw that there was a massive problem with high school career centers and helping students launch their careers or find jobs or internships, especially for the younger kids. And we decided to make a career and job platform for high school and college students. And we're launching this summer. And essentially, what we're doing is helping students get connected with employers from their local towns and organizations like the Chamber of Commerce or the Youth Bureau Services. And we just make it a lot easier for them to job hunt and start their internship hunt, learn how to interview, learn how to build their resumes. Because unfortunately, a lot of that stuff doesn't get taught in the much younger schools. So we're bringing awareness to that.
Yeah, that's great. I think when I was doing it, so I graduated high school in 2005. Feels like a long time ago. I graduated in 2005. I did internships. I worked at radio stations. I worked at, I don't know if you know it, but dig.com. I worked at dig.com in revision 3 back then in like 2006, 7, 8. And, I would just, things that you were interested in, you tried to reach out, see if anybody gets word with you or, wants to have you come in or intern. But I think now with all the jobs changing and the shift with I think it's such a weird place to be. Like you just graduated college. I don't know what the world in the next 10 years looks like, especially for like kids that you went to school for. What'd you graduate with? What's your like major in or
Business management.
business management? I don't know what's going to be happening in the next, few years, but it is weird because everybody's on this fearful thing of like everybody's losing jobs, but I feel like there's still a lot of jobs to be done. It's just these maybe mediocre jobs that are going. How do you view that? Are there anything you're trying to like kind of push people towards when they're applying for jobs or, internships or whatever it is?
Yeah, so even with AI, we didn't center our company around AI just because I knew that yes, it's something huge, but what is the long-term effects going to look like? You shouldn't be relying on this because it's so new. So we're just going to include features that use AI and kind of use that to our advantage and help bring awareness to younger kids and how to use it properly. But I would say that the biggest part for internship hunting for these younger kids is networking. We try to teach networking, which is the greatest asset or greatest tool you can use to your advantage. That's basically how I started my company, was through networking, because I obviously can't code and do all these things. So what I've done was speak with mentors, speak with investors, speak with technical founders, and all these people who put me into contact with other people. And I built a giant team from that. And I've learned, like, the first meeting I had with a mentor, he told me, "Do you have NDAs with your employees?" I said, "I didn't even know what NDA stood for."
Yeah.
So that's just me talking to people who've been previous business owners, because obviously there is no plan, you have no foundation, you're starting from zero, from nothing, and you essentially have to build your own instruction sheet and learn as you go. And I could say I've learned more from starting my company than my 3 years at college. So
Yeah.
it's been insane.
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like college is great because again, you can make friends, you have the social network, you can kind of like make all those connections. But yeah, when you're doing internships, when I did my internships, I thought you're getting real world experience, you're figuring stuff out. There's no one there to like, you can ask for help, but it's kind of like an open world, right? You're building what you want to try to build and try to achieve that. And yeah, it's just wild. I think like the jobs today that you're finding for, high schoolers and stuff like that, are you trying to help them? Is there any like test they take beforehand to figure out, hey, you might be interested in this? Because I think that was something too, when you're in high school, you're supposed to make that decision like, hey, I'm going to college. What am I supposed to do? Is this actually the major I want to study in? Or is this the thing or topic I want to do? Are you doing any of that alongside that kind of help them a
Yeah.
little?
So I never like those assessments and tests
Yeah.
because I feel like they're really kind of one directional
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
don't really cater to all the students' different needs. So what we do is try to have a plethora of different niche job listings on the site. So we help students explore opportunities like what is it like to go to the military, take gap years, go to trade school, culinary school, all these different things. Or what if you want to go straight into the workforce right after high school? We try to explore these different routes for students because unfortunately school often pushes you the college route. I know in my school, especially, they give us forms to fill out, what are going to be your safe schools, what's your major going to be, things like that. But they don't even talk about all the other things like entrepreneurship, side hustles. What does all these new opportunities look like? Becoming a content creator, becoming a YouTuber, a streamer, all these things that students are now doing. But schools are not caught up to that yet. They're still in obviously because college makes the most
Yeah.
money, and I'm sure colleges work with high schools. So it works out win-win for them. But, all these other students get left out wanting, my own brother starting his own clothing company and he's in high school, right? And obviously school is not going to help him with that or teach him that. They have one career course that basically just teaches you how to write a resume, I think, but that's about it. So, just diving into all these new topics that are now, especially AI, most schools aren't even at that level yet. They don't even understand it
I
and
know.
help students learn it. So
Yeah,
that's what we're trying
everything's
to do.
moving so fast. I think it's just, yeah, it's a wild time. I want to talk a little bit more about kind of your business. Tell me, did you raise any capital? Like, so you're pre-revenue, right? So you haven't launched yet. You're coming this summer. What's kind of, I mean, you don't have to give us like real numbers, but you could just kind of vaguely tell us if you want. But what are you projecting? Like, are you charging at first, or is it more like, hey, let's figure this out? How many users can we get? Tell me a little more about that.
Yeah, so first of all, just want to say we're launching in the tri-state only. So because we think geographically wise, because again, we're creating a two-way marketplace, right? So first we're going to schools in this area. So that means we're going and creating partnerships with schools and getting all their students signed up on the platform. Because this is not an open platform for anyone to sign up with. It's
Okay.
not like LinkedIn or Indeed. We're creating exclusivity, kind of like how Facebook first started, where only Harvard EDU emails could sign up at first. And then I think will help with the job process, right? Because you go on LinkedIn and you apply to these jobs. I remember I put out a job posting for a virtual software engineering role, and I used my 3-day free trial, and I had 1.7K applicants. 1.7K. So that could show you that not only is the job market in a terrible spot right now, but most of these people applying to these jobs are not even being looked at. And again, we don't have our own HR team. I was dealing with the hiring and looking through all the applicants. And obviously I only looked through about 10 or 15 because I needed one position. I had
Yeah.
thousands of applicants.
Yeah. You see one good one, you're like, oh yeah, let's talk to this guy. Yeah.
Good enough. Yeah, exactly. Let's see what he's got to offer. So that's why we're only forming partnerships with schools and not leaving it an open source platform. And the other reason is because we don't want students to be competing with more experienced and older people. Just like on LinkedIn and Indeed and these other sites, these younger students, again, I could post like a learning internship, like an unpaid internship, and we're getting 30, 40 Columbia graduates applying to it. And these high school kids, these kids who actually want to gain experience, are getting overshadowed and watered out by these other more experienced people who have a huge portfolio. So we're creating exclusivity and only going to partnered schools. And then the other
Yeah.
side is the employer side. So we're going and partnering with companies and organizations that are looking to hire high school and college students, whether it's volunteer roles, job shadowing, internships, part-time work, full-time work, entry-level jobs, anything to do like that. You're not going to find corporate level jobs and
Sure.
higher level job listings on our site. What I've done was bootstrap the entire operation myself so far. And most of the time we've been doing was R&D work and development. We've only really started the sales process and approaching schools and employers and developing partnerships over the past couple months. And honestly, our success rate has been incredible. Like, not only is there an extreme need for this for these younger kids, for the schools, just because they struggle a lot with their career centers and the guidance counselors are often left, there's just one person who's handling all the job boards on their platform. I mean, at their school. And most of them use Google spreadsheet to keep track of the jobs. And this person has to reach out to companies while also helping students plan their schedules and dealing with other things. So it's like we're offloading all of that. So we've been speaking to schools. We've obviously built relationships in Jersey and Connecticut and New York. Again, we don't want to create a giant pilot program of like hundreds of schools because we won't be able to handle that. So we're starting small. And then we've been talking to employers as well. And basically every single one has said, yeah, we'll hop on this and come post jobs for free and come post
Sweet.
projects for these schools for free. And users, we're probably going to expect about a couple tens of thousands of students
Cool.
and, about 100 to 200 employers.
And then how, like revenue wise, where do you think that will come from? Will it become from the employer? Are you getting a cut, or how does all that work? Because I feel like there's so many different options.
Yeah, exactly. We have multiple streams that we can choose from. So for the schools, we charge licensing fees to bring the students on. So it's just like a normal platform that partners with schools. They charge licensing fees for the students based on how many students sign up to it. And then the employer side, they pay to post jobs and they pay to post projects. Very cheap. Again, we're very cheap on both sides because we're more so trying to just bring awareness and onboard students en masse and onboard employers en masse. So we keep everything incredibly cheap. But those are our two biggest streams right now.
And how is it working with, I mean, I'm sure it's different from both, but how's it working with the schools to the employers? Like, are the schools a little farther behind on a lot of stuff? Are they willing to do this? Like, what are the conversations with some of the schools? Because I imagine they're not easy.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So the first thing I told a mentor, when I told a mentor I was going into the Edu-Tech space, the education technological space, he told me it was like career suicide. He said trying to go and get with schools is going to be impossible because you could just see how outdated and slow they are to change. And you're bringing in this entire new market and industry to them. They're going to be very resistant, not to mention the amount of barriers and security risks because we're dealing with minors' data. It's so many issues and problems that we have to deal with. So on the school side, it's a lot longer process. They have to get approved. They have to get the budgets done. They have to get superintendent's approval. Then the principals is unbelievable. The employers, the HR person will put us into touch with the CEO. They say, yeah, sign us up for the pilot program, whatever, and we're done in one meeting. Schools usually take 2, 3, 4 meetings. But the good thing is that once you get one of them, usually adjacent schools will follow. Other high schools and other people in that area will say, oh, we work with this school. You should hop on this program as well.
And so what was the idea deciding? Because I was just thinking, like, would it be easier just to make a website for, high schoolers and not go to the schools? What was the decision there to just go to the schools directly?
Yeah, so that comes with cost, right? We want to keep it free for the students. If we obviously just did it we didn't have to go through the school approval and all that, and just let students sign up, we'd have to charge students to be able to be profitable. Yes, we can, because again, we're trying to keep it cheap for both sides. The employer side and the school side are both incredibly cheap while keeping it completely free for students. We explored other models. This is like the only one that works because we never want to charge students. We think no high school kid is going to be paying, even if it's $2 a month for a job searching program, because we want to build relationships with these schools because we host events there. We go and speak at them. We host hackathons, panel events, pitch events, all these different things that we work in a relationship form with these schools because we're local, because most of us are from New York or New Jersey or Connecticut. And we build out these awesome long-term relationships with these schools instead of just saying, oh, here's a platform, you students can go use it if you want. Instead, the school's pushing it on, advertising, and it's just an awesome community built program.
That's awesome. And so it's just you and a few people. How has the onboarding process been with the schools, and like how long is it taking you to get each school? Because I guess that's why it's like, because I was thinking, how great would it be? You guys could just go out nationwide real quick, but it's hard to scale that fast. So I guess I'm just curious, like, what's the timeline for each school, I guess? And then also you have to get enough employers because you're double-sided, which is a hard place to be. It's kind of like Airbnb. When you're both sides, it's really hard to fulfill on both because it's basically two different businesses in a way.
We're essentially creating a new market, a new industry. So it's incredibly hard to do at the same time. And again, I've been doing all the onboarding and trying to figure out how we're going to be doing that process because we're bringing on thousands of students at a time. Because they make a login with their student email, and they create their account with the license code we give them, and then they hop onto the site. So first we have to have meetings usually we get up to the principal almost right away, and then the principal will set up another meeting with the superintendent or like a district leader, and they'll go through and approve it and let us know, kind of try to work with us budget wise, because obviously we tailor it to how many students they have, and we tailor it whether they're private or public school, because obviously schools have different amount of capital to work with. And then what we do is sign up however many students they want. Some of them only want juniors and seniors at their schools, because obviously some freshmen probably aren't looking for jobs, but some are. I had a job my freshman year. So we try to encourage the schools to sign up all 4 years, the freshmen through seniors. And then each student gets their own email, their own login, whatever the case is, and they come on and they create their profile. And then by the time school starts in September, they'll be ready to go and have a full year of the platform to use and job hunt.
Cool. Yeah, I remember my high school, I think you could leave a period early to go do work and get some credit. Is that part of it too? I'm like trying to think back to high school. It feels so long ago.
Yeah, one of the employers actually asked us about that. I think it's called co-ops or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's totally up to the discretion of the school and the employer. Again, there's so many possibilities that we can do with this long term. Like we could dive into almost anything, but we're just trying to take it slow and niche down geographic wise so we can kind of scale up We
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
want to,
sure.
because you can have schools in Missouri, but you don't have jobs there. So what's the point?
Yeah.
You could have jobs in LA where you're at, but we don't have schools there, so it's
Sure.
useless.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I don't know why I'm thinking of like ideas for you. I was like, wow, you should just employ all the kids at the school, onboard them to be your sales team to just go get new schools. That'd be such a huge unlock for you, right? You could just get
That was
thousands of
literally
people.
something we talked about. Yeah, an internship program at the schools.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And bringing on like a student team of like 4 to 5 from
Yeah.
there and helping us kind of scale in that area. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
literally something we've planned out
Yeah.
already.
Yeah. And I notice because like right now, so I have an agency and I talk to tons of businesses, and lately most of the people I'm helping out, I'm helping them find overseas help. So I support them in, cheaper labor basically for their companies. And I think a lot of that, the hardest part, which I see in most businesses, is the onboarding, because half the time when you're starting a business like yourself, you're doing it all yourself. Then you're like, well, how do I offload this? How do I offload that? And those are always so hard because you're going to start growing so fast. And I think it's a great idea. I think what you're doing is going to really work. I think it's great because I think it's something that everybody's online, everybody's looking for something. And if there's a community for it and your school's kind of helping you do it, why wouldn't you? Right. It's like, oh, I get to go make, a couple $100, a week or something working at some company down the street that somebody, maybe their father owns or something, that'd be great. It's cool. Yeah. I love the idea. It's really great.
Yeah, our social impact statement is huge. Just people love what we're doing in general, just because you're helping students start their career early, get employed, figuring out how to start looking for internships. Because I didn't even know what the word internship meant when I was in high school. So that just shows you that our career center wasn't really there for us.
Yeah.
But I think things are changing.
Yeah. I mean, when I got my first job, I worked at a pizzeria. I was a busboy, and it was just because my friend worked there, and he's like, "Do you want to work? You want to work with me?" I'm like, "Sure." Like, let's do it. So that's it. I mean, things have changed, but I definitely think that's the fun part of it too. It's like working with a friend. It's your first job, and yeah, I think what you're doing is great.
Yeah, that was
So
a
what?
big way that students were looking for jobs back then. It was who you knew, right? Because
Yeah,
what about
yeah,
all these kids who
that's all
don't
it
have a
was.
network or who don't know anyone who's can offer a job for them, right? They're kind of left out without any direction or any platform. So that's where we're coming in.
So when does it officially launch in the New York area? And then everybody can go to it's starteru.com, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
StarterU.
obviously you can't just go on, like I said, and
Sure.
sign up. You have to be at a partnered school. But again, if you're an
Okay.
employer, reach out to us.
Okay.
And we would love to have you on, mainly through the New York and New Jersey and Connecticut area. But maybe if you're hiring some remote roles, we'd have thought of looking into that because, like, if someone is from your area and they're hiring a remote internship, there's no harm in listing that, and a student can work remote for an internship at a startup or something like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
for schools
Cool.
wise, this summer is literally we're in talks with all different types of public, private, colleges, high schools. So
Cool.
if you know anyone in the school industry that's in that tri-state area, they can reach out to us as well, and we can
Okay.
talk partnerships.
Is there for the business side, is there a landing page or anything, or just like an email people can reach out to you with?
You can probably reach out to partner@starteru.com, that
Okay.
email.
Okay. Great. Yeah. I just want to make sure because I know a lot of people might own businesses or know somebody in that area.
Exactly. And again, unfortunately, a big need because the hiring market's so broken right now. The people who can fix it are the employers, right? So if you own a business or you own a company and you're not doing anything to really help the hiring problem and helping to reach out to high schools and colleges and help hire them, because again, we practice what we preach. I have high school interns. We have college interns. We have some kids who are not even in school yet. Like they've graduated high school and they're trying to figure out what they want to do.
Sure.
And we reach out to them and try to hire them and bring them on, right? Even if you're a nonprofit, you're trying to offer unpaid internships or volunteer work, things like that. Just do your job and try to help fill the hiring need that's out there
Mhm.
right now. So you guys coming out to the site, being part of our pilot program, it's incredibly cheap, almost free to post. And there's thousands of vetted out students who are going to be looking out there
That's
hungry
great.
for jobs. So it's literally a win-win. There's no reason why you wouldn't do that.
Yeah. Cool. Michael, I appreciate you coming on today. I think what you're doing is great. Check out Starter U if you're in that area, if you're a business or a high schooler or anything like that. Yeah, I appreciate you coming on. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me. I can't wait to see what Venture Vaults goes to. I'm
Yeah.
going to look at all the recordings
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
all
Sweet.
the future
Thanks.
stuff.
Appreciate it.